Welcome to Unscripted with Russo. I'm your host, Ashley Russo, president and executive producer of The Peak TV. For our podcast, we decided to explore the people behind the narratives. I'll introduce decision makers and influencers who are winners in their field and find out the intimate story behind their rise to success. Welcome to the podcast, everybody. I'm Ashley Russo, and I'm being joined today by Becca Lynn, one of my favorites. She's from Cat Country. She is a local DJ here in the Lehigh Valley, and just always fun to be around. Becca, I've been so looking forward to having you here
Really?
today.
Why?
Yes.
What I do really isn't that interesting. I think you
we
glamorize
always have
it.
so much fun together.
We do,
We
and
just have hit it off, and I love being with you. So that's the main reason. I'm
stop.
selfishly
Now
happy
stop.
to have you
Okay.
here.
Well, I think what a lot of people don't realize is the fact that, and we've talked about this, is that you would drive me crazy because I was like, this woman is everywhere. She is everywhere. And,
Are you talking about me?
Yes, I am talking about you, but in a good way, because I envy just the amount of success that you've had and the impact that you've had on the Lehigh Valley. Well, no, I'm being
thank you.
honest. I'm being honest.
you.
Afterwards, we'll get really, really honest,
Okay.
and I'll
All
lie
right,
to you a
we'll
little
go
bit more.
back. Okay.
But when we did was it season 2
Yeah.
of Dancing with the Lehigh Valley Stars? That's when our friendship really kind of blossomed because we realized
Because
how
we
much
were
we had in common.
We were jointly terrified at what that experience would be like. But
yeah.
thank you, Shelley, and the State Theater for
Yes,
the opportunity.
absolutely. Thank you.
It was a blast. And we met each other through that.
We did.
Yeah. So we kind of knew about each other.
We did.
And I was excited to meet you because I did college radio, and even though that doesn't make me a radio expert,
but
like
still
you
you
are,
knew a little
I knew
bit.
how awesome it was, and I loved it, and I was like, oh, we get to kind of come be a guest and hang out with you and Sam, and
Yes.
so
And
yeah,
you bid
it was a
on
common bond.
on me one time.
Yeah.
You remember that at an
do.
auction? I don't
Yeah.
even think you fulfilled.
No, I didn't.
You didn't.
I didn't. All right, I'll take you up on it
So
this
that's
spring.
fine.
We'll
Absolutely.
promote the podcast.
There we go.
Okay.
We can do that.
We can do that.
I did college radio, and it's just such a neat
So fun.
experience.
The thing we were laughing about though earlier is radio has changed. So when we were in college, no one had a camera in your face.
No.
And even this podcast is being recorded
Yes,
by
it is.
cameras. And part of the beauty of radio is you could kind of show up looking like anything.
Absolutely.
Do these amazing reporting or broadcasting. I had a news
And no one
magazine,
knows.
and no one knew.
Yeah.
But now we don't have that luxury. Is gone for you.
It is, and it's a shame. It's the end of an era
Yeah.
because we would literally roll out of bed and just hit the mic, and it didn't matter what you looked like. And
Yeah.
then when you would go out and do events, people would be like, "Oh my gosh, I never knew what you. That's so nice to see you. It's so nice to put a face to the voice." I'm like, "Oh well, I hope you'll still listen." That was a line I stole from Sam. I did not. That was not my line, but I adopted it over the years. Video was never really a thing. I think that's why I'm in awe of you, because video has never been a thing.
Silly.
For me, no, but if I was serious, I was more on the audio end versus the video. But when I went to college, we had to do both.
Yeah.
It was
trained in both. Same for
yes,
us,
we had to
yeah.
train in both, and I paid no attention, zero attention for any of the video stuff. I was like, yeah, I don't care. I'm not.
I know I'm not doing that.
Like, yeah, I'm not doing this. I want to
Well,
do
what's
radio.
funny is, I didn't really go the on-air route at all after college because I fell in love with producing.
The
So
back end.
I loved the back end. I loved
Yeah.
the research, the creation of content, the asking questions,
Okay.
being on location with guests. I loved all of that, and so because I had opportunity to go that route, I kind of went that route. But it's come full circle, and I really jumped on camera because I was cheap talent for my own company.
But you're brilliant at it, and
Well, thank
you're
you.
built for
I
it. It's
enjoy it. Thank
definitely.
you.
You're welcome. But that's kind of how I feel about radio. Is that I do like producing commercials and recording our clients, and being on location is fun and doing events. But when you've got me in the studio and I'm in front of a mic and I have my headphones on, and we're on to something, and people are calling and interacting, and we're seeing interaction from social media on what we're talking about, like it's a high, it's an adrenaline rush.
And you realize that it has impact to a
but
pretty
that
wide
part,
audience, too.
But that part still doesn't get me. I mean, I've been in radio for over 20 years. And the fact that, people have us on while they're going about their day, and people are listening and they pay attention to what you say and the stories that you tell. My own family doesn't pay nearly as much attention to me. My children don't listen to me. But
it becomes the fabric of people's everyday lives.
And then I think about too, when I was growing up here in the Lehigh Valley, I've always been a radio junkie. I've always loved it, and I've called radio stations. And back in the day when you'd make mixtapes on the radio, that's what I used to do that all the time. But it was never really something I thought about as a career. But these people that were on the radio, Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and you're right that the radio piece, it was such a part of your daily life. And because you didn't actually used to see radio people very often, it really was a big deal when you went somewhere. It still is, certainly, but I think that the whole thing that it's kind of available for people to watch has changed it a little bit. Before we go too much further, I want to point out that you have some wine here.
I've gone to reach for it a couple times, but I wanted that we have a lengthy conversation.
We do. So cheers, my love. Thank you for being here. And so enjoy this wine. It's just to make it a casual conversation.
To refill it at any point?
We can.
Because I think
there's no rules here.
The more I drink, the more I talk. So
let's go for it.
If we're short on
it's
time,
quite good.
Is it good?
Yeah, this is a shout out to my girlfriend Lorena Bravo at Organic Tans because she gave me
Lorena
this
Bravo.
one.
I just became friends with her on Facebook.
Wonderful, great businesswoman, cool model. So yeah, this was a little gift from her. So that was nice. So thanks.
I'm usually not a wine drinker. I'm more of a vodka drinker, but
that's
right. Vodka is not as socially acceptable in these types of settings as wine is.
That's correct.
So I feel fancy.
I'm a major wine drinker. So
thank you, Lorena. It's delicious.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure, ask me a question, please.
Take people back a little bit. Tell me a little bit about your background. Where did you grow up, and what was like your family like? Siblings, parents. Give me the give me just a little snapshot of what was little tiny Becca Lynn like?
Little tiny Becca Lynn was never tiny. Let's just put that way. Becca Lynn has never been tiny, and just simply on that note, I like to hopefully provide enough inspiration for girls that are bigger, and that can be a struggle growing up because when you're a bigger kid, you get bullied, you get teased, but you also have to find a different avenue for people to accept you. And so when you're funny and outspoken, there's your little avenue. So that's just a tiny little snapshot.
But I love that, and it is one of the things that I love and respect most about you is it really is incredible that you very much are comfortable in your own skin, and I think that you put that out there to people. So, you get dressed up, you get dressed down, you share tattoos, you color your hair.
Bring it.
You're just so authentically you all the time. And I do think that it really is inspiring for people, especially people who might be struggling to get that comfort or figure out who they are.
And it's tough.
And it is tough. And it's really something that I think with social media, girls in particular are struggling with so much more than ever before.
Absolutely. And what I do like, though, and I think social media is a double-edged sword in that respect, because on one hand, yes, they're being bombarded with these images of this is what you should look like and this is what beauty is. But on the other hand, if they're following the right pages and they're connected with the right people, they're getting nothing but support and body positivity and how you can be comfortable in your own skin. You do not have to fit into a mold to be beautiful. And my daughter came to me the one day and she was like, Mommy, I'm not like the other girls in my class. I was like, good. You don't need to be like the other girls in your class you don't need to be part of the herd. It's a good thing to stand out. I know it's tough standing out when you're that age, when all you want to do so badly is to be part of that group and not stand out. But she can't help it. And I kind of that's like my own little window, that's right, girl, you're mama's girl, you can't help it.
It's sort of, I think it's positive when you have something, especially if it's a distinguishing characteristic or physical characteristic that allows you to have that conversation earlier.
Yeah.
Because the reality is all kids, I think teens in particular, preteen and teen, feel like they don't fit in.
Oh my
Even
gosh,
if they appear to be. On the surface. The kid who fits in exactly with everyone. And I've come across this with my daughter. Same kind of thing it's that idea that they still don't feel good enough and adequate enough inside. But I think if there's something about them that forces that conversation, you have an opportunity. So it's great that you're taking that with Mason.
I love to pull up those the pages that I follow on social media and show her pictures of look at these models, look at these women. They don't fit into your what society says is beautiful, but they are stunning, gorgeous women, and they're strong women, and they're comfortable.
Well, how about
the
model that's on the main thing that's 6 feet tall and felt awkward her whole life because she was tall and skinny?
Right.
I'm telling you.
And then,
I've never met somebody tall and skinny who didn't say, I feel really, it's actually sort of sucks to be tall and skinny. I'm awkward and gawky and...
I can only imagine how difficult it is to buy jeans.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I struggle finding jeans. Imagine being that tall and not being able to. Anyway.
Everybody's got their thing.
We've all got our thing. No, but we do all have our things.
So just tell me this.
I grew up in the Lehigh Valley. I am born and raised in the Lehigh Valley.
Okay.
If you're driving on Hamilton, what is now the new St. Luke's Hospital, that used to be Allentown Osteopathic Hospital.
Yes, I have heard.
That is where I was born.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was. I'm an only child. And my parents were told that they would never have any kids. So when I showed up, it was like, oh my And everyone usually resorts to the, oh, spoiled only child. And I'm like, yeah, so what's wrong with it? But only to a certain degree. My mom was a nurse, and my dad was a truck driver. And so he was gone a lot, so it was just me and my mom. But I'm from a very, very big family with strong women. Very, very strong women. And if you could not survive the strong women, then you were out.
Yeah.
It was one of those. It was
sink or swim.
Yeah, it was survival of the fittest. And if you did not survive, it was adios, mi amigo. So that explains a little bit of who I am and kind of where I come from.
What were you into? Like as a kid, when you think back to grammar school, were you into activities? Did you play sports? No. Did you collect anything?
I collected
rocks.
Anything?
You collected rocks.
I collected rocks,
like really collected
gems,
them?
and anything shiny and sparkly. I should have known then. I didn't want to be an archaeologist. I wanted to collect jewelry. I think that looking back, that was really the thing.
That's so funny.
But I loved animals. I had wanted to be a marine biologist and swim with dolphins. And I loved 80s movies, you know, Jim Henson, anything artistic. When I was in middle school, I joined chorus. In high school, it was art club, literary magazine. I developed a love of writing poetry and just writing, period. So I really thought journalism was going to be some avenue for me. But when I was in high school, I decided, good God, I don't want to go to college. And that's an awful message to put out there.
But it's not. But it also isn't for everybody. So maybe it isn't, because I think that the world is coming around to the idea that there are a lot of avenues to find success and fulfillment.
Now, I did go to college. My mother insisted I go, but I joined the Air Force shortly after college, or shortly after high school, which was I mean, look at me. Do I really look like the military type? It takes a very amazing, special type of person to join the military. I am not.
Walk me back into what was your thought process there.
I had to get out of the Lehigh Valley.
Okay.
Had to get out of the house. I was a tad on the boy crazy side, so I mean, military is full of men in uniform. So can you blame a girl?
No. Nothing like Fleetweed, New York.
And when I got down, I got processed and went to basic training. It was one of those, what did I do? You want me to do what?
Run how far?
In the middle of the summer, San Antonio, Texas, Lackland Air Force Base. It was awful.
Yeah.
And luckily,
that's how I always imagined it to be that way, and which of course is why you're like, God bless our military.
Absolutely.
Really, because it is such an it starts with just such an unbelievable physical commitment to do it, and then the mental fortitude and what you're facing. So yeah.
So many people, God bless the people that can do it, because there are those of us that cannot do it.
Well,
and luckily I realized that I had knee problems, and so I was sent home. And when I get home, I'm going, she's going to make me go to college. I know she's going to make me go to college. I was like, can't I just be a bartender? Okay. My mom was a very strong woman. Very strong woman. I don't know where I got that from. But I got home, and we lived in Orfield, and she's like, L-Tri-C is right up the street. Why don't you take some general courses at L-Tri-C? So for the first semester, it was liberal arts, and I was working with kids. I do love children. I love to work with children. I have two of my own, you know. And
we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. I talk about them all the time. But my first semester at L-Tri-C, there was a student activities fair going on in the cafeteria, and I saw that they had a college radio station. What? And they were like, we'll teach you how to be on the radio. What? Teach me how to be on the radio? Yes. And for 3 years, I did a morning show on WXLV 90.3, The Power at the Bottom of the Dial. And I loved it. That was our slogan.
At the bottom of the dial.
At the bottom of the dial. I did a morning show.
I don't know if we had a slogan. It was WNYU 89.1. But we were.
There you go. You still remember your calls.
Well, it was in New York. You would actually.
You had to say that. Yeah.
And people could hear you like regular old people in New York City.
Isn't that wild?
Cool. Yeah, I thought that was nifty.
Yeah. Well, 90.3 is the same thing. See? Very strong signal.
Power at the bottom of the dial.
The power at the bottom of the dial.
I like that.
Yeah. And literally 30 seconds before my first quote unquote air shift, our program director said, what's your air name? What? What do your parents call you? Becca? Boom. Because I was Becky all growing up.
Really? Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, my first name's Rebecca.
Yeah. And your nickname, Becky.
Becky. That's all I was. So if you ever meet family or any of my friends,
they'll call you Becky.
It's all Becky, and it throws my husband off because
where does the Lynn come from?
In the early 90s, a country singer by the name of Brian White had a song out there called Becca Lynn. And so when I first started at Cat Country, that song was popular, and the program director was like, boom, Becca Lynn, there you go. And so it was Becca Lynn. That was my first commercial air name.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's morphed a lot. When I was doing Nashville radio, I was Becky Madison. And then I also was...
Well, Ashley Madison killed that.
I was basing it off Adam Sandler. You took that direction.
Sorry.
You took that one all on your own. I had no influence on that one. But it was Adam Sandler was big, and he had the movie Billy Madison.
Yeah.
So I was Becky Madison. Yeah. So that was that. But
well,
anyway.
I'm Ashley. So Ashley Madison, Howard Stern. They're.
Oh yeah. What's
your
middle name?
Renna, my daughter's name. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, so Renna is my great-grandmother's. She was Teresa Renna. It's an Italian last name.
Okay.
And so then my parents named me Ashley Renna. And Joe and I always said that if we had a daughter, we would name her Renna as the first name. Plus, it's a family name.
It's beautiful.
So, yeah, so technically now it's my maiden name, Saunders.
Okay.
But that's my, growing up, it was Ashley Renna. And I still have an email account with that.
To you.
Mm-hmm. You know, people think I just love my daughter more than my son, I think, now.
You're like,
but it's
no,
just, it's really my name.
Yeah. See, that's what I love about you, because you'll own up to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay.
So, yeah.
All right, so Air Force, you get out, you're here,
I get out,
you go to
college radio,
college
Tri-C.
What do you end up studying there?
Well, I switched my majors. As soon as I learned there was a college radio station on campus, I switched my major to broadcast communication, sales, and marketing, which sadly is not a program that they offer at Tri-C anymore, which is such a bummer.
Yeah, but you know why? Because each one of those things 25 years ago was rolled together.
Right.
Now each one is this
right.
deeply segmented because, of course, world is so much bigger and more complicated. But I agree with you. I think that sort of cross, I guess, training is very important, and you know, certainly ends up coming into play in just so much of what we do.
Absolutely.
Every day and every week.
You know, because aside from the video aspect, but the broadcast and the marketing and the sales, I do that on a regular basis.
It's all rolled together.
And you know, you do it too.
Yeah.
So you understand it. It does all roll together. But in this day and age, we're dating ourselves. You said 25 years ago, and I wanted to reach across the table.
Well, I have my 25th high school reunion in 6 weeks.
What year is this? This is 2019.
19. I graduated high school in 94.
I'm 23 this year. I graduated in 96.
Yeah. Well,
these girls were probably all born after that, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
That's okay.
But I love them. They keep it real.
They do. They do keep it real. If they can keep up with you,
shout
then
out
they can
to our
definitely
amazing
keep it real.
millennial young 20-something
girls. We appreciate it.
Strong women.
Yeah.
Strong, smart women.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you go from, first of all, are you admitting to your mother that like, hey, yeah, this was a good idea, I'm happy?
Never.
Okay. I thought that'd be the answer, but I'd give you a shot at it.
Bless Mom's heart, she's not around to hear this. No, I don't think. I may have told her.
She had to have known.
I may have told her. She would
it.
probably. She
You
would
got
probably
there.
go. Oh, I knew. She would probably say something like that. But it was great because I met my husband.
Okay, I was going to ask you about
That's
Brady.
where I met my husband. We're actually coming on 19 years of marriage this year, which is
look
crazy.
at us, and we're 20 this year. Yeah, can you
That's
believe?
crazy.
Look at us.
Yeah, so
It's a good deal.
we're doing classes together. I started doing mobile DJing, which is a very natural thing for most.
What's mobile DJing?
Like a wedding DJ. Or a club DJ.
Okay.
Yes, we were back then. It was mobile DJs.
Okay.
So that's what I did.
Wait,
and
is your husband doing this too?
he was doing it at the same time, but
How
we didn't
fun.
know. We didn't know that we were both working for the same company.
Oh my gosh.
My mom had pulled an ad out of the paper, and she's like, "Here, they're looking for DJs." I was like, "Oh, okay." So I went and I applied, and I was an assistant. I wasn't okay enough to like do everything on my own. I would assist the guys, so I would do that. And then there was one. We had a meeting. The company had a meeting. And the guy that was training me, he said, "Oh, wait till you meet Brady. When he walks in the room, the fish stops swimming." And I was like, "Oh, really?
Who is this guy?
Who is this man?" Because I was in the Boy of the Month Club at the time. Like, it was just...
Dating around.
Oh, I was enjoying... I was 19.
Yeah,
I was
okay,
19.
that's fair.
That's what you do when you're 19. So we have this meeting, and he walks in, and we both look at each other, and we're like, "We have classes together." He's like, "Yeah, you sit right next to me in marketing." I was like, "Oh, how about that?"
Sorry, I hadn't noticed.
I hadn't noticed, and sat, and like, I hate saying
Sounds
that.
like he noticed.
I think he did.
Yeah.
Well, and I felt bad because I didn't. He had an awful haircut.
That's the way it should be.
He had an awful haircut back then.
Was
So
it like an
luckily
achy,
I
breaky-
changed
was
it.
it
No,
like
it was
an achy breaky heart thing?
no, it
Oh,
wasn't a
okay.
mullet. Party, in the back, business in the front. No, it was split in the middle, and he would comb it to the side, and he has like
That's
waves.
arguably worse, actually.
It was really, really bad.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Brady.
No, he knows. He's well aware. But
Becca really cleaned you up.
I did, thank God. But he was so cute and he was so sweet. So I started assisting him on his mobile DJing. We would do weddings, and long story short, we did a wedding and we clicked, and
That was it.
6 months after we got engaged, and then 3 years later we got married.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Really. And just becoming, it's a rare story, I think, sometimes.
It is, and the fact that he has put up with me for this long, that's rare in itself. Actually, that was my Valentine's Day card.
You complement each other.
We're yin and yang.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which makes it hard to figure out, but I think when it clicks, you realize how you are two parts to one whole.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I feel the same way for us.
You and Joey have
Yeah.
the very similar dynamic of strong woman, logical man, creative woman, logical, this is how it is kind of thing. Yeah. Brady is a business owner, and I obviously am not. And he takes care of the money, and I spend it. And I'm very artistic and emotional, and he's not. So we do really complete each other in that respect.
So you guys, you meet, you're
Yeah.
dating,
Yeah.
you finish school.
Yeah.
What's the first job?
Cat Country 96. I was actually still in college when I got my first job at Cat, and Cat had become Cat in 97, and I started working there in 98. And I was still in college. It took me a little bit longer to get my 2-year degree, but that's neither here nor there.
You did it.
I did it. I got it. I did get my degree. And so I started, he encouraged me, actually. It was a funny little story because we had started dating. We were still in college, and we were listening to Cat Country, and I had called to request a song. And the guy that had answered the phone was the assistant program director, and he was like, "You've got a great voice. You need to come in and fill out an application." And I said, "You need to shut the hell up, because I'm a broadcast student. You don't mess with people like that."
Right. Do you mean it? Do you mean it? Do you
like
mean
no
it?
way, no way, no way. And so I had mentioned it to my mom. She was very protective, and she was like, "You're not driving all the way to Easton." I told Brady, and he goes, "I will drive you down." He drove me down. I dropped off my application. Didn't hear anything. And then one morning I was doing my morning show, and the program director at the time of CAT called me and said, "I've been listening for the past hour. You need to get your butt down here." And he hired me on the spot.
Did you? Now let me ask you a question, because I'm thinking if you had known they were listening,
Right.
But you didn't know they were
I didn't
listening.
know.
As soon as you knew they were listening, did anything change in that broadcast?
Well, I was
Or were
freaking
you-
out because
Yeah,
I just got
mean,
a
that's what
phone
I feel
call
like.
from.
What happened?
Yeah, I just got a phone call from the program director at a commercial radio station, and told me that he was listening and he wanted me to get my butt down there. I was like, "That's at 19 years old. It didn't compute." So I mean, I was able
Yeah.
to finish my shift, but I didn't reference, "Hey, thanks for calling me."
But it's in the back of your mind. But I think it's
Yeah.
important to sort of point out, like, in that process, how do you feel you were kind of doing all the right things to be in position for that to happen? I mean, do you think about that at all?
No, I think it was just
See,
dumb
I think
luck.
about it a lot, and
See,
I don't
and
think it's dumb luck.
I don't think about it at all.
Well, let me tell you why I
really-
don't, because here's why. You were taking opportunities, right? So you were
Right.
taking the opportunity to get involved with the radio station. So you were
Right.
taking the opportunity to get that morning show. You were making the most of it, even though it was a free gig at a college.
Yeah.
Because you loved it and you were passionate about it. And so
Right.
people, I think, respond to authenticity, first of all, which you're super authentic. And second, I like to say, especially to my team or anyone that's, a listener, or fan, or whatever, that you have to seize opportunity. If you don't put yourself out there and you don't try, how would that program director ever listen to you? Like, there are lots of other kids in that program that were not in the seat taking the opportunity you were taking. And so,
Okay.
like, it's not that accidental is my point. I know you're trying to say it is, but I'm telling you it isn't.
I feel like it is, and I think, but that's just my own little little
but
insecurities.
but that's like, I guess you are someone who has seized opportunity in your life.
Well, yeah. I mean, if the door's going to open, I'm damn well going to walk through it.
Well, there you go.
Is that
That's
taking
it.
my opportunity?
That's it.
Okay,
Yeah, because
so that
then
was
you're
my,
there.
Yeah. My mom was very much against it, and again, I really have to stress the fact that she was a very strong influence in my life, and doing things that she wasn't happy about was not kosher.
It's interesting to me, though, that at one hand, she was against it, you're saying. But on the other hand, she's giving you tips on opportunities in
Yeah.
the field. And it has to be a little interesting. I always feel like when you have a parent who's a professional, your mother's a nurse.
She was a nurse, yeah.
And she, that's a certain track.
Oh, very much so. Yeah.
It's a challenge to have a kid who's artistic, wants to follow their own path, because on the one hand you like love and support them,
Right.
but on the other hand it's scary.
Well, yeah, because it's
Right?
beyond
So-
it's beyond anything that you did or that anything that you would want for yourself, or you. It just scares the heck out of you. Like, oh my gosh, what if they fail?
It's also not particularly stable,
No.
right? That world is not a
No.
stable choice, and I think that's scary for parents, right? Like, it's nice to know your kid's going to have a degree that's going
Right.
to get them a paycheck, that they could sort of always find a job.
Right, and then they'll have that income, and then they get married and have
Yeah.
a house and have the kids. And in I think in any artistic field,
Yeah.
there is a little bit of the unknown. But if you don't take that risk, if you don't jump into the unknown, how do you know that
Well, it's also fulfilling.
you're
doing
going to
something
miss
that's
out on
fulfilling.
something? I
Yeah.
could have missed out had I not taken that, and had I not have my husband going, get in the car, we're going. I
love
wouldn't
that
have-
I love that he drove you
He did
all the way
to Easton. Well, because I was living in Orfield, so
We're
I mean,
using
Easton,
air quotes because,
Easton was it. But now it's like, really? Yeah, it's Easton.
But at the
It's 20
time,
minutes away, but it was
at the time, it wasn't really the Lehigh Valley.
No, it was Allentown, Bethlehem, Easton. It was a little
and those
bit more
were cities
separate.
away. And,
Right.
Yeah.
So I go, and they hire me on the spot. I do a month of part-time work, just kind of getting familiar with the board, getting familiar with being on the air. Even though I had 3 years of being on college radio, doing commercial radio is a much different world. Phone calls when, why did you switch that song? Oh, because I wanted to play this song instead. You can't do that. Because on college radio, you play whatever you want. Commercial
Right.
radio, that's not how that works. So then they hired me to do the overnight show. And back in 98, when this happened, radio stations were still not automated. And I think that's one of the biggest differences in our industry now versus then, is that we're completely automated. Everything
Explain
is
what that means.
automated.
Explain what that means.
Everything that you hear on a radio station, any radio station across the country, is run by a computer.
Right, so it's programmed in.
Everything is all programmed in, the commercials, the traffic stuff.
Explain to people who don't know,
Yes.
before it was automated, how did you do it?
Before it was automated, you had CD players. You had things that were called cart machines that were very much like 8 tracks. And you'd have, so standing in a typical studio, you'd have 2 or 3 CD players to your right. And then in front of you, you had the big board with all the buttons, and each button controlled a different piece of equipment. And then you had probably 4 or 5 of these cart machines, like 8-track players.
Yeah.
And you would put one in, and and it was tape. It was plastic
You
with
had to be
tape
ready
on the
with the
inside.
next- yeah.
It had to be ready, and you had to make sure it was ready for the next jock who came in to do their air shift. But at the end of each commercial, there was a tone. There was like an imprint on the tape that would trigger the next machine to play the next commercial. And so by the time you got to the end of number 5, if there were more than 5 commercials, your butt better be ready with the next commercial to put in so that it would trigger back to the front. So it would go boom, boom, boom. It would go
And did
1,
you
2,
have
3, 4, 5.
Did you have actual tape that you would cut together?
Yeah,
'Cause
luckily I
see,
never.
I did.
I never had to cut and
So I'm
splice.
a couple years older than you,
Yeah.
and we actually would go out with real tape
Reel
reels,
to reel.
reel,
Yeah.
and get interviews, and then come in and actually
slice
slice and
them
tape together
with razors.
which people think is like something that was happening in the 60s and 70s. I mean, this is the 90s.
The 90s,
This
it was
not.
happening. Yeah.
I guess it is that long ago, but it feels like it wasn't that long ago.
For us, it doesn't feel like it. It's all perspective.
But
That's
it's
what I
kind
try
of
to
cool
tell
because
people.
it wasn't as easy as the click.
No,
You know, it was a
I mean,
real
now
kind
it's
of an
mark
art
left,
to
mark
it.
right, and I
Yeah.
can delete stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was dubbing stuff from reel to reel. So commercials, ad agencies would send the commercials over on big, ginormous reels, and I'd have to take them from those reels and put them onto the cart machines. But we had a digital phone call editor, so that as soon as you answer the phone, which we still use today, as soon as you answer the phone, it starts recording.
Okay.
And so then that way you could edit people out and cut out their naughty words, and that way you could air them on the radio. But then you'd have to pay attention.
Yeah.
And if you had to go to the bathroom, you better hope for a 4-minute song so that you can truck it down the hall, go to the bathroom, and come back before the song is over. In this day and age, now we just hit auto, and you can take a break.
What do you find in the industry has changed the most to help your job, and what has changed the most to sort of hurt the job?
To help is the fact that there is automation, and if there is something that needs to be done that we can't manually hit that button to start that song or to start that commercial, it's taken care of. It's going to do it for us. Digitally, the amounts of prep that we have to do to do a show. And when I say prep, you have to know what's going on, like in the past 24 hours, the news that's going on locally and nationally, entertainment news, news that has to do with your artists. So with our format, I have to know what's going on with my country artists.
And how do you do that? What's your methodology of, let's say, research or keeping up with it all?
So back in the day, it was magazines and
Yeah.
it was newspapers, and you would have to get up early, you'd have to stay up late to watch the TV shows, and you'd have to read the magazines and read the articles. And now when I get to the station, I literally open 4 websites and I have it at my fingertips. I can open these websites and I can check on what happened in the past 24 hours with country artists, locally, nationally. It's literally just a matter of opening my trusted industry prep sites. That's what we call them. They're sites, they're websites that are actually put together for those of us, for professionals in radio, and they're format specific. So we have one that's just country. It's all about country music.
Talk to me about your co-host. So Sam Malone, you guys have been together
15.
15.
This
okay.
year, this
my
September, it'll
gosh.
be 15 years.
He's like your work husband.
He really is. But
yeah.
we've been friends way longer, because when I started working at CAT 98 to 99, he was doing nights. So I was on after him. He would do 6 to 11 or 6 to 10:30, and then I would come on after him. So we would spend time. And also you have to remember, I was 19. And Sam is 6 years older than I am, so he was 25. So he was just this immature,
Wow, Sam looks
big
young.
guy. He does. He looks extremely young.
Yeah,
He's got that baby face, and he's got a baby. Yes,
and he's sweet. He has a sweet demeanor too.
He is,
yeah.
and he's very much like the brother I never had. He's like my work hubby, but we became friends then, and much to a lot of people's surprise, nothing ever.
Always just almost like a sibling.
Always just a sibling kind of
Yeah.
friendship kind of thing. And so,
I mean, I'm not surprised to hear it, because to see your dynamic very much seems like I am with my cousins.
yes.
It's sort of got that feel
Very
to
much
me,
so,
where it's like
yes.
it's that you guys are really funny on social media. You're very funny on the air. You jab at each other. You tease each other. You know each other too well.
We do. We
you
really
know.
do.
So tell me what you love most about working with Sam, and tell me one challenge. You can start with the challenge if you want.
No, I don't want to out him there, because there's a lot. There's some. No, I don't want to say there's a lot, because this could get me in trouble. Well, he's a different person than I am, and he lives a different life than I do. I'm married. I have kids. He's a bachelor.
Yeah.
So the challenge is that the things that I would call a challenge are really just a different lifestyle.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. What I love most about him is his ability to make me laugh and say some of the dumbest stuff, and it catches me off guard, and it makes me laugh. Yeah. Genuine belly laugh. I never thought of that. The perspective that he has, the different way he looks at the world, that just makes me laugh, and it's a delight. I mean, we start at 5 a.m. and in order to laugh.
I realize that when you are a duo, you kind of can't fake the chemistry. It either is or it isn't. And again, I think audiences know authenticity, and when there's that genuineness, you can feel it, and it's so sort of pure with you and Sam.
Thank you.
You know, and you can see it in person too.
Thank you. We've always had that kind of interaction together, that it was just always kind of buddy, and luckily we've never had to force it, because it always has just come very, very natural to us. But as a challenge, I'm not gonna rat him out too much. He doesn't necessarily pick up after himself. Let's just put it that way.
Well, he's a bachelor.
There's coffee. There's coffee cups.
We wives whip them into shape.
Yes,
you know,
we do.
Without that,
and I'll walk around and I'll pick up his keys and I'll pick up his stuff, and I kind of gather it. I'm like, dang it, I'm at home doing this. Shouldn't have to do it at work.
Well, that's okay. We forgive him.
We do forgive him, because he's so ridiculously creative, and creative people tend to be slobs.
Yeah,
that's what I tell my husband.
Can't
explain to him that's why I don't clean as much, honey. I'm creative. Okay, I'm supposed to be
You're talking
okay.
about a little bit about your family. You've mentioned your kids.
Yes,
so
my
you
children.
and Brady have 2 children. What do you want
do.
to tell me about your 2 amazing children?
I have 2 amazing children. My daughter is 10. Her name is Mason, and she has a sense of humor that reminds me of Sam, because she has a way of looking at things and saying things that just catch me off guard, like, you're right. That's funny. And she makes really great observations about people, and she's so much more mature than 10 years old. If you have a conversation with her, you're like, are you sure this little girl's 10? Because she carries herself in a way that is more like 14, and that's very scary. It's very, very
it's
scary. And she's got
cool
these
too,
big,
though.
beautiful blue eyes and this long blonde hair and
She does.
just this flawless skin. She's one of those girls that just like a little bit of cover up and mascara and boom, she is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The kind of girl that's just
Effortless.
Effortless, yes. But it's not just about her beauty. There's so much more to her, and she's very empathetic. She wants to make sure that everybody's okay. If things are particularly stressful in the house, she'll come up, she'll rub my back. She'll, Mommy, are you okay? Is this a touch me not mood?
My son is like that.
Yeah, it's
that's
special.
really in tune with his environment and the emotions of the people around him. And it's a real, I feel like it's
a gift.
It's a gift.
It really is.
It's a rare quality, and it's sort of an amazing thing.
Yes.
Now, what about your son?
My son, Noah.
Noah.
He is, he's 5, he'll be 6 in May. And him and I have that special mother-son thing that you hear about, that people talk about, but until it happens, you never fully understand it or expect it or even really know how to explain it. But he is, and that's odd for me because usually, I mean, I can talk your ear off.
Yeah, you don't know what to say.
But for him, I don't know what to say because he is this ball of perpetual emotion. And he's got a great sense of humor. Right now, we're very much into potty humor, so most jokes are about
Sure,
farts.
he's a little boy.
Yeah, that I wasn't used to.
Well, what,
that caught
that's
me
the
off
thing. I was going
guard.
to say, you're an only child. And
I
you're
am
a
an only
girl.
child. I'm a girl from a family dominated by women, and I had a girl, so I only had one frame of reference
Yeah.
when this
and
little
you have
guy
a little,
shows
and you have
up.
a little break between the kids. So
Yes, 4 and a
you know.
half years, because I had told my husband, I said, look, I had my son at 35, and as I'm approaching that 35, that advanced maternal age, I said, look, if it doesn't happen by the time I'm 35, we're done. He's like, okay, well, don't I get pregnant right before my 35th birthday? So that's why there's
meant to have that
I was meant to
special
have
little
that
boy.
son, but I was, and that's the way I look at it. He is, again, perpetual emotion. Anything that's got wheels on it, trucks, diggers, excavators, backhoes,
Isn't it funny
garbage
how it's like
trucks.
a universal thing?
I didn't know it was a
Yeah.
thing.
Did you
And
have a superhero phase?
no, he's not
Okay.
necessarily into superheroes. Right now, we're
he
into
likes-
Minecraft.
Okay.
We're
well,
into
that's a new-
Minecraft right now. And you
like Disney as a family.
we do.
Yeah,
We do.
yeah.
Disney's
Us
great.
too.
It's expensive.
It's expensive
And
and it's
there's-
exhausting. It's like not a vacation, but it is.
Yeah.
It does make memories.
We did. We made a lot of memories because we did just recently go. But just a really little side note, you probably did not know that there was a whole line of clothes for little boys about garbage trucks. You didn't know that, did you?
I didn't. Is
Yeah.
it a particular?
It's a thing.
Okay.
Boys love garbage
Interesting.
trucks. Yeah. He has numerous shirts that
I love
say,
that.
I love
Who
garbage
knew?
trucks.
I'll keep that in mind for my nephews. As
Well,
they get approached
yeah,
that
they
age.
love garbage
thing.
trucks. And I'm like,
Save me a couple shirts.
I will. And he goes, Mommy, I'm going to be a garbage truck driver when I get older. I was like, dude, a career
God
in
bless you.
sanitation,
That's
man.
hard, too.
You're going to make a lot of money, and it's always going to be there.
Yeah.
So
Stable. Yeah.
that's fine.
I love it.
My daughter, on the other hand, I don't know. She bounces. She's going to be a vet. She's going to be a zoologist. She wants to be an artist. She could be. There's so many different things
Wasn't it
and
neat
avenues.
to tell her she can be anything she wants?
Well, I do, but she can't. She can't just be anything she wants. She can be anything that she works hard for.
That's a good point.
Anything that she tries to be, she can't be an elephant when she grows up. That's just not going to happen.
Right.
It's not, you can do all the body modifications that you want, but you're not going to be an elephant.
We learned this from the cat lady.
And
the
the
news.
dragon lady too. Did you
Ooh,
see the
even
dragon lady
scarier.
too? I like tattoos and all, but that's a little much for me. But I tell her what you love and what you dream about doing. If you work hard for it, yes, you can do anything that you want. But it's not always going to come easy, and it's not just going to be handed to you.
And that's, I think, one of the hardest lessons for kids. And I was going to ask you next,
Yeah.
what is the big life lesson that you want people to know that you espouse to? But I think that's the one. I think that you're a big fan of dream big, but work hard to get there.
Work hard to get there and own your screw ups.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Taking responsibility. If you screwed something up, whether it's big, little, oops, I forgot to take the garbage out. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's little, if it's big, if you screwed up,
Say it.
own it.
So my big phrase around here is be willing to fall on the sword.
Ooh.
And so it's my I try to live it,
All
and I
right.
try to point out,
Take a bullet if
if you need
if
to.
you're willing, take
and
that
sometimes
bullet.
it's not even that you were wrong, but it's the right thing to do in the circumstance in life or business or family. I also call it take the high road. So taking the high road sometimes is always the right answer.
But it's always
honestly.
tough, though,
It's the hardest. It's the
sometimes.
hardest, rockiest road you'll ever walk
really
on, but it's always
is.
the right choice.
Yeah.
All right, I want to ask you a few kind of quick questions.
Oh, okay, without giving me a lot of time to
before
think?
No time to think. Before I get into that, I just want to ask you
Sure.
one more thing, because you
Yeah.
have a huge commitment to the community. You keep really long hours. We had my sister-in-law Eve here a few weeks ago.
My girl Eve.
Yeah, you too, up at the crack of dawn.
Yes.
So when I can't sleep, I know who to.
You know, she's up and
I
I'm up.
message you
We
guys.
message each other in the morning,
Yeah,
like, oh my
exactly.
gosh, did you see that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
and
I
you're
don't have
both,
my makeup
both
on
kind
yet.
of crazy schedules with kids,
Yes.
and you work. But so most people would think, okay, you're done, collapse, go home.
Mm-hmm.
But you are often found out at events on nights and weekends in the community, and I understand that a lot of that is not required by your job, but rather something you enjoy doing.
Well,
so why is the community so important? Why do you make time for it?
I was born and raised in the Lehigh Valley, and I've watched it grow, and I've always known, and I know this sounds a little, am I waxing nostalgic? I don't know, but I've always felt as though we have so much more than just, Allentown, Bethlehem, Easton, Lehigh Valley. There's so much potential. And by just helping out that one organization, by doing that one event, it just gives them just a little bit more. And it feels weird to say that, lending my name or just attending an event.
Yeah, but it matters.
But that's a very surreal aspect of this position, is that, people pay attention to that. And so if we just did the 2019 Addy Awards, and just going to that and people saying, oh my gosh, you did a great job, thanks for coming out. It's like, well, that kind of stuff is, well, what are the Addy Awards? And it's like, well, those are for local advertisers. And it's like, oh, I didn't even know that kind of stuff existed. That right there. I didn't even know that kind of stuff existed. There are organizations in the Lehigh Valley that people don't even know exist. So if I can go, and hang out with really great people. I usually see you there. And if I can hang out with you and meet some really great people and just give a little bit of a platform to these great organizations, then I've done my job.
I love that.
Thanks.
I love that, and of course feel the same way. So I think that's our little kindred. It's true. It's true. And I have to say, as someone who did not grow up here but has certainly adopted this as my home, I love and admire and appreciate that in you and in other local sort of celebrities who make it a priority to give back. I think you set the bar and set the tone for the community. And it's important, and then it trickles down. I hope. It trickles down to other people, and we have such a generous community.
We really do. And there are times I actually wish I could do more.
Yeah.
But my schedule and my other obligations are, I do have these two wonderful kids, and I have a house, and I have a husband, and I have dogs, but the biggest thing is the schedule. I mean, the schedule it's
tough.
Is brutal. I'm up at, around 3:30 every morning. I have a half-hour drive. We go on the air at 5, and we're not just, I think that's something several people don't know. We're not just doing CAT live from 5 until 10. We're also syndicated. We're a national show. So in numerous markets across the Lehigh Valley, or numerous markets across the United States, Sam and I are providing audio for smaller market and smaller radio stations.
I don't know that I knew that.
Yeah. So while you hear us doing Litterbox Trivia at 6:40 on CAT, 2 minutes before that, we were providing audio, and
so we're only hearing a portion.
You're only hearing a
what's,
very small portion of what's actually happening.
I didn't know that, Becca.
We are in Wisconsin, we're in Texas, we're in Nevada, Colorado,
How cool
Virginia,
is that?
Ohio. It's wild. It's absolutely wild. In fact, Cumulus is the company that owns us. Cumulus purchased Westwood One a few years ago, and I know you're familiar with Westwood One. They produce so many thousands of shows for radio, for television, all over the place. We became the talent. Cumulus Talent became the talent for Westwood One, and so we started doing shows. And we're on 2 formats. We're on a Country Gold and a Country Silver.
Yeah.
So things that we're doing on CAT, we're also doing on radio stations across the country. We're just not adding, 22 or 78
It's funny
to
as I say to people, like when I have a day where I'm filming a lot.
Yeah.
It's so awesome, and you're on a high. You love it. But it also is draining and
It's
hard
exhausting.
work. I mean,
It's
it's not hard. We're
mentally
not
exhausting.
digging ditches.
No.
But it does take away from what you need to put out for, say, your family and your life. So I think it's a real balance.
It
All right,
is.
let me
It's a tough
jump in with
balance.
these questions.
Go,
You ready?
Go.
How many tattoos do you have?
8.
What is your favorite?
Probably this one.
Can you show it to us? On the
Yeah,
camera?
this
Show it.
one. It's the water bearer, which is what my zodiac sign is. I'm an Aquarius, and it has my son's initials, my mom's initials, and my daughter's initials. I love that one, but I
It's
also
really
love this
beautiful.
one too.
Your
This
tree.
one's my new one. This one is my
beautiful.
Lord of the Rings. I'm wearing my Lord
But you
of the
have all
Rings.
kinds of Moravian
geeked
stars.
Yeah, I have the
in
stars, and
there,
this is the white tree of Gondor. So I just got that one. I've got another one up here and on my shoulder
I
and
hope
my
our
neck and on
editor
my hip.
Abby watches or listens to this.
Is
'cause
she a tattoo fan?
Well, and yes, and she has Lord of the Rings something, the words on her rib cage.
Is she
I don't know
is
if
she
she
in the
wants me
building?
to say that. No, she's in South Carolina, but she's coming to visit
Oh
next
my
week.
gosh,
You wanna
we need
see
to
her?
get together. Yes.
we'll
I'm
compare.
a huge
I
Lord
mean,
of the
when I
Rings
say
nerd.
we'll compare, I don't have any, but I'll.
That's
I'll
okay.
look.
If you're ever in the mood to go, I will go with you and we'll do something.
I don't know if I feel strongly enough about anything.
Really?
to put it on my body.
I don't know. I got my first one when I was 17, and the legal age is 18. But I told my mom, I said, Mom, if you don't take me, I know a guy. And
Right,
she's
I'm
like,
gonna do it
fine,
anyway.
I'll take you.
Nurse-
So
the
my
nurse
oh
said-
yeah, we had to check the joint out and make sure it was clean and it was safe. And so my first one was a little Chinese symbol of love on my ankle, and then it just kind of went
The
from
ankle.
there.
It's the gateway.
It is the gateway, and then it went from there to the shoulder to the hip.
Well, they are beautiful, and they are
thank
representations
you.
of so many things that are important to you.
Thank you, and I'm very lucky that I work in the industry where it's okay.
Yeah, I think it's becoming pretty okay
It
in
is
a lot
absolutely
of places.
yes.
Okay, if you were to go anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Fiji.
Topless. Fiji. Why you answered that quick?
I know, because that's
Wow.
where I want to go.
Okay.
I love the beach. I love the ocean. I love.
Are you going to get there? 25th anniversary.
Can you help me start a
So,
GoFundMe
can we?
page?
Well,
can we
just
start
do-
a go?
Can't we just
can
do
we
a
just
Cat Country
go?
broadcast from
I don't
from
think they would
Fiji?
pay for that because
No.
that's a little expensive.
You know me. I'm a problem solver.
I know you are.
We'll
So
find-
you get on that.
we'll
You
figure
work
that
on
out.
that. But no, I would love to go to the South Pacific. We stayed at the Polynesian Resort when we were
And
in
it's in
at
Disney.
Disney, and so yeah.
Wait, I have to tell you a funny
Go.
little anecdote. My husband and I went to Mexico recently, and when we
Yes.
walked into the lobby, it was like the end of Christmas,
Okay.
and they had this beautiful tree set up and decorations everywhere.
Yeah.
And I took a picture of it and sent it to my cousin, who I spent several trips with in Disney as kids, and he wrote back, "It's beautiful, but it's nothing like the one in Disney
one in
World."
Disney
And I'm like, "But I'm in actual Mexico.
No, I'm in
I'm in the
Mexico."
real country." And he was dead serious that you just can't, because Disney does everything as
Disney-
authentic as they can get.
Disney is,
Yeah.
is top of the line. They do not mess around on anything. But I love the tranquility of the
that
ocean
culture.
and the beach.
Joe really wants to go there too.
So we should
yeah, we
get
should
one
make
of those
it good.
bungalows
Yeah, over the
water.
Okay,
Yes.
if you could have a last meal, one thing that you would eat, or just favorite meal, like if you
Well,
can pick one thing.
I don't know. My favorite food above anything else is chocolate. I'm a huge chocoholic.
Oh, we're counting that as a food group. Okay.
You don't?
I mean,
I
it's a
feel sorry
dessert.
for you. You
It's a
don't
dessert.
count it. It is not a dessert. It is it should be part of the FDA food
I
pyramid.
do want to tell you, it kills me when you guys get your pastries and stuff in the mornings because you talk about, and I don't.
It's
I'm
killing
not a,
my genes.
I'm not a dessert
honey.
person.
You're not?
No,
Are
but
you
I
more of a savory salty?
Totally savory salty.
Okay.
However, I love a good serious donut, like the real kind.
I've had
And
numerous.
I'm aware,
serious
and it's the only time that it like hits me
You're
where
like
I'm like
angry at me.
a little bit because I avoid trying to eat them, and then I'm like, well, Becca's making it sound so good, and she's so embracing it. She's like, I don't care, I'm eating this
don't.
donut, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna not care either, and I'm gonna eat
Just
a donut.
Eat the donuts.
This is what happens to me.
Eat the donuts.
I know.
Life is short.
I
Eat
hear
dessert
you,
first.
I hear you in my
But
head.
if
So
I
chocolate as a food group,
chocolate,
that is
it
your
has to
favorite.
be a food group because I have to have chocolate in some form
Every
every single day.
You know what's funny is I think I actually have chocolate in some form in most days as well, but I'm someone who can eat like one Hershey Kiss and walk away.
What kind of monster are you?
I know, but I'm a
No,
savory
I
person.
don't know.
But
You're
I need a
savory.
whole jar of pickles or olives.
Oh.
Yeah, like something or cheese
Okay.
or
Well, now cheese. I mean,
Italian meats.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, like a meat and
like
cheese
like an
platter.
antipasto platter.
Oh, that's for me.
okay.
Mhm, okay.
Oh my gosh, my final meal. It may actually be Chinese food.
Chinese food. What is your favorite Chinese food dish? I love Chinese food.
Oh my
too.
gosh. Chinese, I can't pick a favorite because I love them
Anything.
all. My very first job was at a Chinese restaurant. It was a funny little joke with the family. I was the token American girl that worked at the Chinese restaurant that would answer the phone. And I would take people's takeout orders and I would package their takeout orders and get them
Did you
ready.
get to eat for free?
All the time.
That's awesome.
Yes, egg rolls, nonstop.
Love that.
Love egg rolls.
See, I like
Oh.
Chinese the most when it's a lot of people because you order a
Yeah,
lot
you
of
order a
things,
lot, and then
so it's a
everybody.
smorgasbord,
See,
you know?
I do that
Yeah.
even with a family
I
of
do
four,
too.
and my husband goes, "We are not feeding.
don't need this
Why do
much
we
food."
need this much?"
I
I'm like,
know.
"Well, then that way we'll have leftovers."
Yeah, I do the same exact
Yeah.
thing. So we need to get Chinese
We
together.
do. That or
love
a
it.
good Chinese buffet. I know a good one.
One more question for you. If you were not doing this job, what career would you have?
I have no flipping idea. I've thought about it. It would probably have to be something with either kids or animals, because I absolutely love kids. I love to play with them. I love to get on their level and talk to them, because they're just little humans. They're just little humans, and it's our job. It's funny, I was explaining this to my husband or to my son last night. It's my job to raise him to not just be successful, to not just go out and conquer the world, but to be happy.
Yeah.
Like to be content, to get the things that make him happy, to find that thing that is the spark. So being able to see that in little kids and play with them and get on their level, and talk about the fact that I've got purple hair or I've got tattoos and touch. Massage therapy. Maybe I'm a massage therapist, like a dog or a kid massage therapist.
It's funny. Sometimes,
I don't know if that's a thing.
there are chiropractors for horses. There's horse massage. So maybe.
So there you go. Then I
do that.
That's what I could do.
Sometimes all it takes is a person letting a kid know that they're valid and that they matter. And so that is you in a nutshell, Becca Lynn.
Stop it.
With that, unfortunately, we're kind of out of time.
Are we over already?
Well, you and I could talk all day, all night. We could go on our retreat.
Yes.
They'd be so annoyed. We get kicked out of quiet places, I'm sure. But
we've been shushed a couple of times.
You're the best,
So
Becca Lynn, Cat Country.
Thank you.
Please, everybody, listen. And what else? Where can they find you online?
We are on Monday through Fridays, 5 a.m. to 10. I'm actually on until noon, so I pull really long hours. But we're at catcountry96.com. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter. Hit us up. Listen, please. We play country music.
You love your viewers. You love interaction.
We do. We have a lot of fun.
Viewers,
yes.
Both.
Give us a chance, because so many times, I don't like country. Give it a chance.
Give it a chance.
It will grow on you.
And the genres have all kind of mixed, so I agree with you.
We've got a lot of country and rock.
I listen a lot.
There's so many really great artists that are coming to the area.
All right, Becca Lynn, love you. Thank you so much for being here.
No,
Everybody, this has been
Unscripted with Russo. Thanks. Until next time. We'll talk to you soon.